Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Obviously, we're not in person right now, so we're just doing this on a little Discord thing till we figure out how to do videos when we're not together. And today we're going to be talking about the yesterday was the March 11th episode of Raw, and I'm gonna let Tony start off first.
All right, what's going on, y'all? Like I said, welcome back to the Attitude Adjusters. Yeah, we're excited to review yesterday's Raw. Like Owen said, March 11th. The night started off, Jey Uso coming out doing his little entrance, and it was him versus Grayson Waller, and that was, it was a match. It was nothing crazy, nor was it meant to be. Obviously, we've had Grayson and Austin Theory kind of taunting Jey recently, and Theory's been hinting at, looking like he's gonna turn face, but then again, they've been doing that for months. Him doing the little yeet thing too, and all that. But Jey and Grayson had a pretty solid back and forth, and Jey did end up getting the dub. And right afterwards, we got what's been happening a lot recently: Gunther coming out, choking out Jey, and then standing tall over him and leaving. And I, at some point, do hope that Jey retaliates more and actually ends up being the one to come out on top instead of doing something just to get laid out right afterwards. It'd be nice to see Jey actually be able to walk out, not being the one in the middle of the ring afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then it's just like, I am excited for this match, don't get me wrong, but it's also like, they have to like push things forward because your second most valuable championship in your company, it should, there's many other matches that people are looking forward to more than this. And like, that's not like a gripe against Jey and Gunther. I personally think like they need to like eventually like move this along and can't be having just Theory and Waller and then the Alpha Academy like just like being, they just need to like, if they having like a heel thing, have Jey go up against Ludwig Kaiser. I know Ludwig Kaiser's actually doing something great right now with like the mid card against Penta and everybody else, but like, I think they just kind of need to like move it along.
I agree, honestly. And I feel like this has kind of been the case with both winners of the Royal Rumble. They've both just kind of been having like very slow moving or almost stagnant storylines. It's been the same, I think, literally for both storylines, where it's just in reverse though, where Tiffany's the champion, and yet after every single match, it seems like damn near she's getting attacked by Charlotte, and Charlotte ends up being the one on top. And then you've got Jey versus Gunther, where Jey's the challenger this time, and it's the same thing every week, where he's just getting laid out, and there's really no substance behind it right now. Like, I know Gunther had the whole, I'm going to make your life a living hell until Mania, but at some point, you've got to have Jey fight back and actually stand tall, because if you want him to become champion, you've got to make his power and his presence more believable than what you're doing right now. You're kind of doing him a disservice as to how he's supposed to look as a champion. Because I get he's going to be the underdog, obviously, like, regardless, but if you just have him getting his ass kicked every week, it only does so much. It just makes it kind of hard to believe he'd win at this point, even as an underdog.
Yeah, I feel like they should what they need to do is like do like before, like do the pre like Yeet Jey Uso. Like, his promos were very good when he was having his feud against Roman. I think that they need to start, like, Jey needs to bring, like, because he's been doing that here and there, but I think Jey needs to like start like going back to like his old promos before like the Yeet and all that.
I definitely agree. Yeah, he has to give himself more substance than what he is right now. Like the whole Yeet chance. I mean, obviously it's over. It's one of the biggest things that's gotten him over with the crowd. But he definitely does have to have more diversity into what he's doing right now to really bring out the best in what he has as a character and as a performer.
All right, welcome to the next segment of the video, which is Logan Paul segment. And as we're like the biggest Logan Paul haters, and I don't want to see Logan versus AJ. I know they have to have Logan because he has a contract with them, and he is a good performer. He does have insane heel heat, but I don't want to see Logan Paul versus AJ. I would rather have not Logan versus Braun, AJ versus Braun, because you have one of the greatest greatest in-ring wrestlers of all time versus like your next big star, and I think like I was really loving the AJ versus Braun Breaker like feud that they've been teasing. And also, I don't care for whoever that Andrew guy fellow was. He looks like an asshole. I know he's on Joe Rogan. He looks like an asshole. And I know he's a piece of shit for what he said about Kendrick. So I don't give a shit about him.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. You know, I mean, sure, yeah, I'm sure Logan has stuff in his contract that, again, you know, he has to be in these kinds of things. But that doesn't necessarily mean they have to give him some high-profile match. And I mean, I guess it's not necessarily high-profile other than the fact that it's against AJ Styles. And like you said, AJ deserves better, you know? He just came back from an injury again, and he is, you know, an all-time performer. He deserves better. You know, teasing something against Braun just to not have it come to fruition at all is kind of stupid. And it would be nice to see AJ have a title again before he retires. I know he said on that recent interview with Chris Van Vliet, I think he said he plans on retiring in the next couple of years, if I'm not mistaken. So we don't have much of AJ left. So if we don't get a world title run, something like an IC title or the US title would be nice. But I guess, you know, we have to take what we're given for the time being. You know, hopefully it's a one and done at Mania, and then AJ can go on and do something better afterwards. And the whole Andrew Schultz thing too, you know, I wasn't fond of that either because I don't know a whole lot of the guy. I know that he's a comedian, you know, a comedian, but I don't care for him. And you know, like you said, you know, he had the whole stuff that he said about Kendrick and all this other weird shit. And obviously he's a right wing leaner. And you know, this isn't to bring politics into it, but even just in a general sense, he just doesn't come off as a very good guy. So to bring him onto the show from the crowd and to put him off on like the face side of the feud is just weird because I mean, first of all, he doesn't belong in it to begin with, like to any extent, and on top of that, I just
don't deserve it.
Don't think he deserves it. No, he really doesn't. He deserves better than what he's getting. All right, and the next part of the show was the LWO versus the New Day. You know, this is a feud that we've had going on for a while. I don't really think it's going to lead anywhere. It's just more of a I guess a pride thing for Ray versus the New Day, you know, being disrespectful towards him in the locker room. But it's not really benefiting anybody, you know. The New Day just isn't really going over as heels. No one's really caring for it. Like, I like Kofi, I like Xavier Woods, but I don't like the direction they're going as heels. And I feel like there's no reason why they should have done this unless there's a possibility that Big E is coming back soon, but there's been no hint of that. So if Big E's not going to come back whatsoever, there was literally no reason to turn them heel. So hopefully we'll see something. Maybe Big E will return eventually, sometime down the road soon. And if he does, you know, God bless, because I wasn't sure and no one was really sure that he'd ever be able to wrestle again. But we'll see. But as for the match itself, you know, it was a solid match. You know, it was a tornado tag between the LWO and the New Day. You know, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, definitely the two best of the LWO competitors at the moment.
Yeah, you have.
And you know, what were you saying?
Oh, I said you have. I heard like some people might call him Hat Guy number 1 and No Hat Guy number 2. I'm gonna.
It's crazy. Yeah. All right. But yeah, it's just you know, I don't know. I don't really see the substance behind this feud, and I was hoping that eventually Ray would get one off on them. And I do feel like the reason why they're having the New Day win is to try and get them traction as a heel duo. But again, like I said, no one's really caring for this. You know, folks like the New Day for how they were, as you know, these fun face guys. But right now they're just these like kind of corny heels that no one's really caring for a whole lot. And obviously, it does seem like this is going in another direction because you had Chad Gable, or you know, allegedly not Chad Gable, come out in his American-made luchador mask and attack the LWO, which that was cool. That's probably the best part of the segment.
Yeah, no,
since I mean, we actually.
And then when he went, gracias, like I thought that was like the funniest thing of the match. Like, I low key, I know Chad Gable had literally a feud with Gunther a few years ago and Sami Zayn, but I thought that shit was hilarious with the whole gracias. But I'll let you continue.
It was very funny. I agree. And hopefully that goes somewhere, whether it ends up being like, Chad just having a line of matches against luchadors. And with how good of a wrestler he is and how good a lot of the wrestlers that are luchadors on the WWE are, I think he could have a good line of feuds. And maybe it'll culminate in him versing Rey Fenix whenever he ends up debuting in the WWE, which is hopefully soon from what I've seen.
I saw some people say that they thought the Mr. America to put on was Chad Gable was Rey Fenix, but yeah, I don't like. I feel like at some point Biggie was supposed to come back, and then something might have happened because now they made it like I know that they're like they weren't gonna be like this like the top bad guys like the NWO type of heel heat, and the New has always been a comedic faction, but I feel like it was especially one of like the most emotional because obviously for me I knew who Xavier the New Day was because I would watch videos on Up Down Down before I got into wrestling, and you have and they're one of the most fun one of the greatest storylines ever is Kofi Mania, and then so you have these lovable guys arguing. And I get they haven't been doing things in a while, and it's just the Raw. Literally, if the SmackDown tag team division's up here, and then the Raw is all the way down here, and you have so much you have a lot of great talent for in the Raw division. So I think because you have March between Machine Guns on SmackDown, the Street Profits. DIY, and then you literally the tag division is War Raiders, New Day, LWO, and maybe Judgment Day, but the Judgment Day needs to stay away from the tag division. So I hope eventually, because by the time we're recording this, the Hardys versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom hasn't happened yet. So I don't know if they're for the TNA tag titles or the NXT tag titles. But I think at some point, Nathan Frazier and Axiom need to come up to the Raw tag team division to kind of help it, because one of the most entertaining things on SmackDown right now I think that is the most entertaining thing, because I don't like the Drew, the Drew being beat up every week by mid-carders type of, so the fact you know what I was saying, but I found it funny with the Chad Gable and the Mr. America, or then I heard people saying from SmackDown vs. Raw, with the whole Todd Americano. I don't know. I haven't played SGR 2011 in a while, so because I did buy it I bought it a few months ago. I haven't played that part yet, but I think it's the name was Todd Americano with Jack Swagger, but funny enough, I can't wait to see where this luchador Chad Gable goes.
The next part of the night was when Cody came out and cut his promo. Now, a lot of folks are saying, and it's definitely true, it seemed a lot like his promo that he cut a few days ago on Friday. But, maybe some folks were tuned into SmackDown, and so that's why they did this. But at the same time, Cody is also a phenomenal speaker and a phenomenal promo cutter. So I think it's okay, it gets people hyped up, it gets the juices flowing, and obviously, they were at MSG, and so a lot of folks were hoping for something big, whether it have been The Rock coming out, John Cena doing his thing, maybe even via satellite to come talk some shit to Cody, but it didn't happen, and, it's a shame that it didn't, but at the same time, we're supposed to get John and Cody next week, so hopefully the wait will be worth it. And, just because it's at Madison Square Garden doesn't necessarily mean it has to be something gigantic every single time. And I think that's okay, only the promo was very good. Even if it was, again, super similar to last week's, it was still a fantastic promo. And I am still very excited for what goes down between Cody and John starting next week, leading up to their match at Mania.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. one thing I liked, because this is so true, where Cody was, this is one of the funniest things, because I also like how Cody's, like, not, like, being, like, oh, you screwed me over, like, he's still, like, I like how he's still showing his respect to John Cena with it, because he says, even John Cena part-time is better than some wrestlers full-time, and I agree with that. I mean, John Cena comes back, it's John Cena, how are you not gonna be excited for it? And I liked how he, like, went into, like, his whole Twitter thing, because everybody on Twitter, like, the next day after Elimination Chamber, everyone on Twitter was like, bro, we know what you did. And so I thought that was funny, but yeah, I can't wait for the feud. I can't wait for next week. I wish I didn't have to work. The one Monday where I have to work is obviously going to be live in the middle of the afternoon. But I can't wait for what's it called, the feud, and then we're going to see them face to face for the first time in the Elimination Chamber.
Honestly, yeah, it's gonna be very exciting. And it is a shame that the show's gonna be at like 3 p.m. next week, but obviously, you know, they are gonna be in Europe, so it's understandable. I'm not gonna be able to catch it live either. I do have work, but definitely catch up and watch it once I get home, as I'm sure you're gonna do as well. I'm probably just gonna end up turning off my notifications so I don't get spoiled, because it's tough. You know, you follow a lot of wrestling things. It's hard not to get spoiled, but, you know, I'm definitely gonna do my best to make sure that doesn't happen, and then, as I said, catch the show once I get back home. So yeah, so spinning off of what you said about the tag division, honestly, I do feel like maybe when Rey Fenix comes, if they decide to pair him and Penta back up together right away, that could definitely bolster their division. But at the same time, if they do end up tag teaming them right away, I hope that Penta does still get his singles run at the same time, because he's been really over with everybody, and I think it would be kind of unfair to him and to the crowd to kind of just cease the momentum just because Rey Fenix is there now. So hopefully, you know, they can bolster the tag team while also letting Penta have his singles run still. I think that would be a win-win for everybody, and would definitely help the show out a lot more tag team-wise.
Alright, for the next segment of the night is the Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez. What was this match? It was an okay match, but I think it was for the IC thing. But yeah, I thought when you have such a big show like Madison Square Garden, then obviously Bayley's Antonio's favorite wrestler, and she's our personal friend, 100%. Who's ever editing this, put the photos up on screen. She is a personal friend of ours, I guess. But I'm just like, nobody asked for that match. I know it's for the IC title, but Bayley should still always be in the main event, because she's like the longest running, like, 4 horsewoman. That's like been WWE. Just obviously Charlotte had that break. Becky's on a massive break right now. Retired. But yeah. The crowd was very silent, and yeah, but it's just like, this new version of the Judgment Day doesn't hit as 2023. I'm sorry, I think literally the only people that are working is Dom and Liv Morgan, and sometimes Finn, but it's just like, Judgment Day used to be one of my favorite factions, and I know that Priest and Rhea are heels right now. I'm not heels, faces right now, but nothing. I think they need to break up Judgment Day soon, because like Finn's trying his best, but I don't see him like with like him and Damian Priest every week would be like, oh, who's gonna turn on who? But yeah, I miss the like OG Judgment Day. Well, not OG Judgment Day, because obviously before Edge left for AEW. Get that, but like the 2023 version of Judgment Day with the main event. But yeah,
I agree, honestly. You know, this new Judgment Day is very lackluster compared to what they used to be, and as you said too, I mean, Liv Morgan and Dominic are really the only two mainstays of that group that are solid week to week. And they've talked about and teased Finn going on a singles run for months now, but I feel like with him being a part of the Judgment Day, one way or another, it's just not going to happen. And also like you said too, 2023 Judgment Day, like that era was fantastic. They were kicking everyone's asses. They had a lot of energy to them. And again, as you said too, obviously Rhea, Damian, they're doing their own thing. They're faces. They're not a part of the group anymore, nor do they have to be. And I think they're better off doing their own thing. But it is definitely just time for them to cut their losses and do something else for everybody involved. I think Dominic's definitely made it where he can go on his own and do great things as a solo competitor. Liv Morgan's obviously really sauced herself up recently and shown how good she can be on her own as well. I don't think she needs Raquel by her side. And speaking of Raquel, and circling back to the actual match between her and Bayley, as you said, I am a huge Bayley fan. She is my favorite woman wrestler of all time. Shout out Bayley, and shout out to Owen for getting me this card for my birthday. And I'm very disappointed to see how that match turned out. And as you said again too, Bayley should definitely be a main event player, and the fact that she's not right now is sad. But at the same time, everyone's gonna rotate out. I mean, Bianca wasn't in the main event for a while, and she's obviously a main event player too. But I don't see why Bayley lost this match. I understand that Triple H is trying to get Raquel over as a singles competitor, but it's not working. I've seen a lot of people say that she's trying to make her as like a modern day female Kevin Nash. And I just don't see it, nor am I really fond of it. She's good. She's a good wrestler, but she just doesn't have it. I just don't think she's very over with the crowd, and I don't think she's the person to have been put over in this match. And obviously she didn't win clean. She had Dominic, she had Liv come out there and interfere, but I just don't think she should have gotten the win, man. I don't think Bayley should have had to have put her over. And, kudos to Bayley for always doing that, for always putting over other talent. But I think she should have been the one that was over this time, and hopefully maybe even have led to a feud between her and Lyra going up to Mania and her winning the IC title, because Bayley deserves to have a long reign. She deserves to, hold any sort of title for a long while and show what she can really do. Because she's a fantastic competitor. She's a fantastic performer, fantastic on the mic. And I think they just gotta give her the ball and actually properly let her run with it, not just like 2-3 months. Give her a decently sized run, have some good feuds, and not just have her keep putting other people over, especially someone like Raquel. The next segment of the night was Rhea, Io, and Bianca. We started off with Io coming out and giving her thanks to everyone and talking about how excited she is as champion. And then, of course, Bianca came out, started talking to her, and they were trying to build up for their match at Mania. And, of course, that eventually led to Rhea coming out and kind of confronting her, I know Bianca talked a lot about her other issues going on between Jade and Naomi. And for what was supposed to have been an interview between Michael Cole and Io, and Bianca, of course, kind of spilled over into what happened, between Rhea and Bianca getting really, really, really heated and getting in each other's faces. And, of course, Rhea shoving Io, and then Bianca shoving Io, and then leading to Io smacking the shit out of both of them, which, of course, is leading to the triple threat at Mania, which I'm personally excited for. I think a triple threat between Rhea, Io, and Bianca is going to end up being one of the best matches, maybe even the best match of the night, And I am excited, well, not even for the night, just for the entire Mania card. And I'm excited to see it. But my one gripe, and I've seen other people share the same opinion, is the promo that Rhea cut last week after Raw that everyone saw online, where she was blaming herself, she was having an emotional break. It was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was some of the best, promo work that I've seen from Rhea Ripley in a long time, outside of them just having her say, I'm always on top and I'm mommy and this and that. This was some genuine emotion, and she was starting to go through some genuine hardship as a wrestler, not just being the very dominant, I can't lose to anybody type of wrestler that she's been. And to see them have her go through that adversity last week with that promo, just to have her come right back out this Monday and go back on the same tangent of, oh, Bianca cost me the match, Bianca this, Bianca that. It's a shame. I really hope that they don't scrap that hardship that Rhea's going for and they do circle back, because that was fantastic. But for them to kind of just pretend it never happened this week does disappoint me. So hopefully they bring that back down the line, because I think it was just phenomenal work from Rhea, and we deserve and she deserves to see that kind of work from her instead of just the whole same repetitive stuff she always does.
Yeah, I agree with you on the whole Rhea being so humble last week, and then just suddenly forget about it. And my one thing that I'm worried about this feud is you have the top 3 women in wrestling right now. And obviously exclude for WWE, but it's just my one thing that I'm worried about is I hope they just don't push Io to the side. I mean, we did get a little bit of Io being involved with her slapping Rhea and Bianca, but it's just why put the title on Io if you're gonna make her not the main part of the feud? I don't think they are gonna do that at the end. They started the start of the promo. I did think that was gonna happen with Io just being stop fighting type of vibe, but I can't wait to see where this goes, and I hope I know one of them has turned heel, and I do think it might be Rhea, but just make it make sense. I know that the promo that she cut wasn't on live television, and some people casual viewers didn't see that, but just at least make it sense. How what they could have done is they could have had Bianca essentially talk shit to Rhea during the promo instead of, you cost me last week.
I agree, honestly, but we'll see where it goes. We don't want to pull the trigger on disappointment too fast. We'll wait and see how things play out the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it takes a little bit more of a turn and things kind of get back to where it looks like they were going last week.
Yeah, definitely. And again, and back to the whole WrestleMania thing. I know that there's I generally want this to. I don't think this is gonna main event as much as I want it to. I don't think it will main event night 1, because I do think that they're gonna essentially. And this is what the problem with my one problem with Revolution is. Obviously, I'm just so tired recently. I'm not even trying to sound like I'm a feminist type of thing, but I just women's wrestling is so hot right now, and I do believe, and we haven't gone to women's night 1 main event in such a long time. So I just with the whole Revolution thing, with I know we're not talking about AEW. I know they're two different companies, but with putting your best match on the card was the women's match, and I understand that Cope and Adam Copeland, they're the same people. I don't know why I said that, but Jon Moxley and Cope main evented when it was the worst match of the card. It's just when you get over this whole men have to, not men, but the big stars have to always main event, because I think you have enough star power for just Rhea and Bianca alone. They were both on the 2K cover last year, the Deluxe Edition cover last year, and obviously with Roadblock, I hope that it's changed by the time this recording, but I don't care for Moose or Obafemi, and I just hope that eventually we do get I hope that they'll stick to their guts and put this triple threat before the other big triple threat we're going to talk about in a bit.
I agree, honestly, and just to really touch on Roadblock real quick, like you were saying too, it is a shame that they're putting Moose versus Obafemi at the main event instead of Julia versus Stephanie, because those two women, and I love Obafemi. I am a huge Oba feminist. I don't really care for Moose like that, I'm not gonna lie, but I just don't think that match has the power that Stephanie versus Julia does. That should have easily been main event for Roadblock, and maybe they'll change it, but I have a hard time believing that they will.
Welcome to the insane main event, the CM Punk and Seth Rollins Steel Cage match. And before anybody says, just love both the Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher in this match. You don't have to love, you don't have to hate both matches. They're both fantastic matches. Like, I generally loved how they hate each other that much that they're not giving up, that they never gave up, and it was just, CM Punk is him. I do believe that we should be getting like a world title reign from him. Eventually, like by the end of the year. Sorry, but like by the end of the year, we do need a CM Punk tyrant because everybody he was looking so rusty in the 2024 Rumble, and the fact that he's working his ass off, like there hasn't, in my opinion, there hasn't been a bad match since. No, there hasn't been a bad match at all since him returning. Obviously, you have one of the greatest Hell in the Cell matches. I saw some people say the greatest Hell in the Cell match last year. But back to where I'm saying, I loved, like, you could tell these people like hate each other or hated each other because like it's just like insane. Like they weren't giving up. And also another gripe that I had, like Netflix, you put a lot of stuff on your website. You're telling me you want to censor middle fingers, like that thing bothered me. I'm like, we're not on cable anymore. But back to what I was saying, like this match was insane. I know people wanted them to blade it. I think there was like I don't know if it's a WWE rule or MSG rule where you can't like have intentional bleeding. But I feel like they should have run the blade, in my opinion.
I believe. This is sorry to cut you off real quick. I believe from what I read, I think it's a New York thing. It's so I think it's a state law type of thing that you're not allowed to blade out there.
Okay, that's stupid. That's why Boston Go is better. But yeah, but other than that, I just I know that their match at Raw on Netflix premiere was a little hit or miss. I personally liked it, but this was definitely a better match, and I do eventually think down the line we need this either at, like, I know we're probably not going to get there one-on-one at Mania, but I feel like they should do like a last man standing match at like SummerSlam this year, because, or like their next match after this, their next one-on-one match has to be for a title or has to be for like a King of the, like put it in King of the Ring or something like that. Like make them move. Well, I don't know how that's gonna work, but like make them like the King of the Ring, because these two, with how literally they see each other, they're automatically fighting. It's a Mortal Kombat match. So I love the match, and then obviously we'll talk about the end of like the match, and I'm gonna let you give your thoughts, and I want to give our thoughts about what happens at the end. But I love this match. I thought it was one of the best like Raw main events. Well, not one of the best like in a while, because I think the CM Punk vs Sami Zayn match was fantastic, and it should have been at least 4.5 by Meltzer, but we don't talk about Meltzer as it is. But I thought Punk is just really going on. He's really going off this year.
I agree, honestly. You know, Punk has been fantastic. He's definitely showed that he still has his touch, and he still has no steps lost in the ring. Like you said earlier, too, you know, his Rumble match in 2024 looked a little rusty, but obviously, you know, he took the time off from the injury, he came back, and he's been putting on phenomenal matches, whether it be with Drew McIntyre, with Sammy, the War Games match, Seth Rollins. He has just been burning it down, you know. He has been so good. And yeah, last night's match was great. And as you said at the very beginning of this segment too, you don't have to like one or the other between this steel cage match and the Kyle Fletcher Will Ospreay match that we had on Sunday. Both were fantastic matches in their own rights. You know, one had blood, one didn't. Obviously, as we said, you know, New York doesn't allow the blading, so that's fine. You know, that's okay. You don't have to have, you know, grueling, bloody spots all the time. You had a fantastic technical match last night in the sense of, you know, these two just throwing it down, throwing moves at each other left and right. And, like, story-wise, it was there, you know. It was a great story match, you know, with the amount of offense they put with each other. You know, Seth hitting Punk with a fucking superplex off the top of the steel cage, or at least Punk was on the top of the steel cage. You know, you had Seth hitting Punk with a bunch of curve stomps. He even hit Punk with his own GTS at one point. Punk kept kicking out. Same thing with Punk. You know, he hit so many GTSs on Seth, and Seth wouldn't stay down. Eventually, he even hit a curb stomp on Seth, and he still wouldn't stay down. It was just such a good match. You know, like the hatred and the animosity between these two would just showed out so much in this match, and it's beautiful. It's so good. For as much blood, like bad blood, as they might have with each other in real life, which at this point, who knows how bad it is?
I saw something a while back where like they're actually like not friends, but they actually like mess with each other backstage.
I mean, I can definitely see it. I mean, with them having an on again, off again program for almost a year and a half now, and seeing as though, you know, Punk did train Seth years ago, I'm sure that it was an issue between each other where, you know, Punk coming back and everyone being cool with how much of a cooler-headed person he is now. I'm sure they worked things out, or at least they're in the process of working things out, because it's even like almost not as severe. Well, at least the one I'm about to talk about isn't as severe as this. But like even when Seth fought Cody, when Cody came back, he wasn't fond of Cody coming back either. He wasn't fond of Cody in general. But now they're like super, super, super close friends. And is that to say that that's where Seth and Punk are gonna go? No, it definitely doesn't mean that at all. But to even hear that they might be getting better and that they might be on, you know, a more friendlier path now is fantastic. And even if for some reason they weren't and they still had troubles with each other, they definitely put that shit aside to put on some fantastic matches in the ring and put on a fantastic story between each other. But just a great fucking match overall, though. And the next part that we're going to talk about was really the icing on the cake for the final match of the night.
Oh yeah, I just remember this while we were talking about it. One of my favorite things, and I love when Punk does this, is when he was like, "Do you want to leave?" Like, I thought that was hilarious, and I love how like trolly Punk can get sometimes, because I love that part. But yeah, now we're gonna talk about the ending, and then I mean I kind of I loved how at first like the crowd MSG started saying OTC, 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 and and then obviously you have, I feel like, because you heard like the bell ring, I mean I get it that Seth was like exiting the cage, but then you have like Roman just literally murdering Seth alive, like on camera, and I can't wait for this feud. I don't care what the IWC says. Like, I know that we're getting repetitive with 2 triple threat matches, and maybe possibly 3 depending on what rumors are saying. I don't care. I want to see this match. Like, the 3 men who absolutely hate each other is gonna put on a fantastic match. Like, you obviously have, like, and then like towards the end of the segment where Paul Heyman checks up on Punk, and then Roman just literally supersonic tweeting and attacking Punk. Like, you have 2 best friends that one betrayed him, that literally said brothers, and one betraying them. Then you have somebody who's mentor and like literally like a uncle / father to him, who has like another person who's talking shit about him, and like I can't wait for the storyline goes. And like this, like I don't think it should be main event. Like, I don't know, if you told me last year that the main event, that there was gonna be a match between Punk, Roman, and Seth, I would say it should main event. But obviously, you have so much going on right now where I don't think it should main event. As much as I want to see this match, I can't wait for this match. I don't think it should main event. Back to where I was going, I can't wait for what this program's gonna like uphold and stuff.
I agree, honestly. You know, this was just it was a phenomenal way to kind of end the show. You know, with Seth just like being in the corner, and then just getting out of nowhere, absolutely fucking yanked out by Roman. You know, it was crazy. Roman was pissed. He was beating his fucking ass. You know, I love that shit. They hitting Seth like 2 curve stomps, and then placing Seth on the the steel
step. I forgot to even mention that. That was sick.
That shit was crazy.
I wish they had the balls to actually, like, do it.
No, same, honestly. I hate when they have the the authoritative figures and backstage figures come out and stop it, like just like with Randy fucking trying to punt kick KO. I would have loved if that happened just like this. And to hear like what Roman was saying to Seth too, telling him to fucking bite the steel, is insane. Like in story, he was really gonna try to break his fucking jaw and kill him with an actual fucking curb stomp, yo. That was some crazy shit. I was like, oh my god, he really wants to fucking kill him. But at the same time, I get it. Seth fucked his ass up at the Royal Rumble, so it's totally understandable. And then obviously, right afterwards, as he's being stopped by everybody, he sees inside the ring, oh shit, Paul Heyman is controlling CM Punk. Why is my wise man helping out this guy? And obviously, we all know Paul Heyman and CM Punk, they go way back with each other. Paul Heyman was with Punk years ago, back in the early 2010s. Punk was the Paul Heyman guy before Roman or anybody else. I mean, outside of Brock Lesnar. But that was very, like, ferocious, too. Coming in there and just fucking ripping Punk out of Paul Heyman's hands, throwing him into both sides of the steel cage and just absolutely fucking annihilating him, That's Roman Reigns in a nutshell. He is just a fucking monster. And after seeing all this, all the animosity, I cannot wait to see where the rest of this leads to week on Raw, between the segments, in between the fights, and whatever else might happen, culminating to the Triple Threat at Mania. Now, like you said too, I don't think it's going to main event, and that's okay. That's okay, because we have a bunch of other fantastic matches that can main event. But the fact that we're getting the match in general is what matters, because this is going to be a fantastic match. As you said too, two former brothers. It's almost like a lovers to bitter enemies type of thing, pretty much. And it's so cool. And then to see Punk involved, obviously Roman and Seth both hating his guts. It's just there's just so much bad blood and so much animosity in this, and it's going to lead to such an intense fight, even if it's just a normal triple threat and there's no stipulation. That's okay. They're going to find a way to fuck each other up. And I just can't wait to see it. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for Mania. Alright, now I think we should give our final thoughts on the whole show. In my opinion, for a Madison Square Garden show, it was, in my opinion, lackluster. Other than the main event, which I find funny because obviously the other big wrestling company at their last show had an amazing, mid-card, and then obviously a bad main event, and this had a lackluster mid-card and an amazing main event. But for Madison Square Garden show, I think it was kind of there were good segments with the whole Bianca, Io, and Rhea thing. I thought that was amazing, and I can't wait for that match. And then obviously the steel cage, and then I just want to point this out. I saw this on Twitter. If a Madison Square Garden could just have a Roman Reigns statue outside, or at least an OGC statue, because when everything's in whatever the hell it's called, you always have a big Roman segment. That's where the Usos officially left the bloodline, and yeah, I can't wait for Mania, and I can't believe. I was only really doubting the whole Jey Uso stuff at first, but people need to stop complaining if they don't get what they want right away, because this Mania build I don't think will ever top the last two Mania builds, because obviously people are saying that the last two Manias were probably the best Manias of all time, but I just can't wait for Mania.
That's totally understandable, and I agree with that. Just to segue back to the front of it, I agree with what you said. It was a very lackluster Raw, especially for MSG standards. There were some parts that were solid, leading up to the main event, but for the most part, yeah, it was very underwhelming. Again, with the start with the whole Jay versus Grayson Waller, it was a very similar rinse and repeat between Jay fighting and then getting choked out by Gunther. The Logan Paul segment was whatever. Raquel and Bayley wasn't crazy, but of course that main event almost made up for the entire thing. It was great. They definitely hit the nail on the head with that. And like you said too, it's a very total opposite from what Revolution was with AEW the night before. From a lackluster mid card to a hype main event, whereas Revolution was a fantastic mid card to very, very lackluster main event. But just because they kind of dropped the ball a little bit this week doesn't mean it's going to be bad going forward. We've got a lot to see. Obviously, in Brussels, they've got the John Cena, Cody Rhodes seeing each other for the first time since Elimination Chamber under the same roof. And I cannot wait for that. Even if we can't catch it live, the fact that we're going to see it in general, I'm sure it's going to be great. And hopefully they really bring out the big guns and start popping off a lot of shit when it happens. Hopefully Jay and Gunther get a little bit more substance to it than what's already happened. And obviously, I just hope that a lot of what's going on at Mania culminates more during the next show, and I'm sure it will, because I know they like to treat the European audience for some special shit, especially because they're obviously not out there as much as they are in the United States, and they deserve it. So we'll see. I'm very excited though.
Yeah, I can't wait for this next European tour, because they're literally you could literally have a match between, I'm trying to think of who you'd literally have a match between Akira Tozawa and Tanga Loa, and the crowd will just pop off. I mean, they are the two godliest people on the roster, 100%. Totally not joking right now. But back to what I was saying, I just can't wait for the European crowds, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The European crowds are always very special. They're always very passionate, and I like that. Obviously, it should make American fans want to have more passion and more vigor at these shows, and that's not to say that American fans don't. I mean, I sure as hell know that we have a lot of passion and vigor when we go to these shows. I mean, I think one of the biggest pops I ever had going to one of these shows was seeing the War Raiders win the tag titles, especially because Ivar being from our hometown in Massachusetts, it was absolutely huge
and then also,
to see him win.
I don't even need to cut you off. Literally, so if you guys ever see in future vlogs, one of the last shows we went to, my voice was gone immediately. So if we're ever in the crowd, just so the pops are gonna be insane. Back to where you were saying.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree with what you were saying. Yeah, when they won those tag titles, I fucking lost my voice. I was screaming so hard, but it was so worth it. It was absolutely awesome to see. But yeah, hopefully, the U.S. crowds start bringing more passion in what they do. I know a lot of cities are pretty good, but then you got some cities where every single time they go, the crowds are just very dead. And it's why go to the show if you're not going to actually bring the passion and energy if you're supposed to be a fan, Obviously, if there's bad moments, sure, I get it. But if you're just not giving any reaction to anything, why go to the goddamn show,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But all in all, me personally, I'd probably give this week's Raw, I would say about a 7 out of 10, and I think the 7 is very heavily being carried by the main event and the post-main event segment. Without a doubt. If it wasn't for that, it probably would be like a 4, maybe 4.5. But with the main event and everything that happened, I would give it a solid 7.
Yeah. No, I'm just so we're just gonna wrap things up now. Yeah, it was very main event hefty. The last 2 segments not hefty, and that's how it should be. But not should be. But I think that they should have done a little bit more matches. I know they when you are in the world's famous arena, obviously I know you have to make it big, and then this didn't feel big in my opinion. Obviously the Jay and MSG entrance was good, but they should have done at least a few more they should have done Logan versus AJ here in my opinion, to make it I feel when you have a Madison Square Garden crowd, it could be a mini pay-per-view.
I agree with that, honestly, especially when they keep touting it as, the biggest, not the biggest, the most popular, famous arena in the world. You've got to treat it like that, and this show just didn't feel like one of those at all.
Yeah. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna try and we may have a 2K video out soon. We should have a 2K video out soon, but if you don't, look forward to that next weekend. We're gonna try and think of other videos that we can think of throughout the week, and thank you guys so much for watching. We love you guys for everything you do. And shout out to our family and friends who are day one supporters. We love y'all.
On some real talk, honestly, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for the support. And again, like I said, I believe in the Tops review video. If you guys have any suggestions for video ideas, feel free to leave them in the comments. You guys got anything you want to tell us? We're going to do our best to respond to everyone. And as Owen said as well, thank you to, our family and friends for being down with us. As this was a down since day one-ish, you know what I'm saying? We appreciate all of y'all on some real shit. And we hope you guys enjoyed the video. We will absolutely have some more out soon. And until next time, it's all love.
See you later.